The first York Minster was a small wooden church which was specially built for the wedding of Princess Ethelberg to King Edwin of Northumbria. The current building was started in 1220 by Archbishop Walter de Grey, but it was not completed until 1472, although the minster was in use for much of that time. The height of the minster and the many steps have caused the authorities to issue a health warning. Anyone with any kind of medical condition should not attempt it. Once at the top of the tower, the views are very impressive. The Shambles is a street in York's Old Town, which has overhanging buildings. Some of these date from the 14th century. It was once known as the Great Flesh Shambles. This meant flesh shelves on which the butchers who inhabited the street displayed their meat. As recently as 1872, there were 25 butchers' shops in the street, but now there are none. In past times there were no hygiene laws, and guts, offal and blood were thrown into a trough which ran down the middle of the street. The stunning panoramic views from the top of Clifford Tower out over the historic city make it one of the most popular attractions in Yorkshire. Set on a mound in the heart of Old York, this imposing tower is almost all that remains of York Castle, which was originally built by William the Conqueror. The Castle Museum houses the collections of Dr. John L. Kirk, a North Country doctor who collected everyday objects and wished to keep them safe for future generations. The museum is well known for its Victorian street, which is named Kirkgate. The museum used to be York's prison, and projected images tell the stories of some of the inmates.
So just mind you remember, pride and debt, debt and pride, they'll kill a man in York.
King John Boardingham? Ha! 5 children I bore that spineless little worm, and I knew him for the smuggler he was. Not a very good one neither, or he wouldn't have been locked up in here. And if he hadn't have been locked up, I'd never have fallen for Thomas Amy, and none of this would have happened.
In 1930, the cellar of this York tavern was being extended, when, to everyone's surprise, a Roman bathhouse was discovered. It had belonged to York's famous 9th Legion. For many years the remains could only be seen through a plate glass viewing area in the floor. Then in 1970, the basement was turned into a museum. There are many more interesting things to see in York, but that is all that we have time for just now.